Hello everybody, my name is Deku, and welcome back to Milgram. I know, it's been a while. I have been wanting to do this forever, but my sinus infection that I currently still have and my ear infection have been allowing me to not do any of that. Um, but what better way to react to the most sick and twisted individual in all of Milgram, Mikoto, than to be sick and twisted myself? Now, I do not know if he is actually sick and twisted because, well, I haven't watched any of it yet. I don't know. But given the fact that so many people adore him and were like, you're going to like Mikoto the most. I think he's going to be your favorite character. I was like, you know what? That probably means he's either the most insane or he's the most innocent of all of them. But given the fact we've seen a lot of innocent people, I would imagine that we're gonna have to at least see somebody that's batshit fucking crazy, but still very complex, right? There's never going to be just a complete wrong answer. All of these are going to be complex to kind of dissect and the like, and that's what I really like about Milgram. Um, I'm wondering if like there'll be any characters with like OCD or even BPD, right? Where there are these mental illnesses that really like cause them to like split at the seams, right? And that's what causes them to do what they did. Um, or maybe any like I mean, you can very clearly tell that all of them have some sort of mental illness, though. Also, I want to quickly say, look over there, look, all those names. See, look, do you want your name over there? Jingle, jingle. Do you want your name over there? Do you want your name over there? To see it and then to hear it at the end of every single video? Well, you can do so by becoming a free member of the Patreon down below. Or you can pay and then get your own name in your own font and own color at the end of every single video. And it also helps support me by becoming a member, and then I can get a new camera and everything like that. So yeah, also memberships as well. You get access to membership streams and all that other stuff, and it's super cool. And oh, I try and make it as cheap and as available as I can. So yeah, there you go. All right. Anyway, let's get to this. This is going to be. I can only imagine how long this is going to be. Uh, but let's take a drink first. That is straight tequila. Oh, that's not a joke, by the way. This is straight tequila. Why am I drinking it straight from a glass? I don't know. Psych, it's actually water. Get fucked. All right, let's start.
こんなとこで何やってんだろう僕
本当になまあそれを明らかにするのもミルグラムの仕事だ
ちょっとびっくりさせないでよ監視君ドアを開けるときはノックするってそこそこ常識じゃない？
うるさい指図するな
横暴なんだけど
尋問を始めるぞ囚人番号9番ミコト
いやいや
Cubon,
尋問って言わ
QB,
れても
Nine Tails.
別に何も隠してることなんてないってば
名前年齢
茅野美
Smash.
23歳
He's as old as me.
じゃなくてさ僕はずーっと君に話があったんだよ監視君
なんだ手短に済ませろ
ねえいつ終わるのこれはいやそりゃそうでしょ急にこんなところに連れてこられてさ人殺しだのなんだのわけのわからないことを言われて何かのドッキリとかリアリティショーとかモニタリングされてる的なそう思って我慢してたんだけど
Like the one time that guy was forced to be naked for like 90 days, and then he just kept doing it over and over, and he got so used to just being naked that he like couldn't wear clothes again, and he started having panic attacks. Yeah, there's something about the horrors of capitalism to force people into these reality TV shows for fame and for glory, and to actually have a chance at a decent life at the expense of their own humility.
だからこそ他のみんなとも仲良くやってたんだけどさ、テレビだとしたら映りとか気をつけ
Am I tripping, or is his like ribbon like a Mobius strip where it doesn't like connect normally? It like goes up and then no, never mind.
あ、でもさ、あまりにも長すぎる。なんなのこれ。
お前まだそんなことを思っていたのか。ミルグラムが何かの冗談だと。
思ってるよ。思ってるに決まってるだろ。
I wonder if he has disassociations or like derealizations. I mean, personally, I've had derealizations before, and I'm sure plenty of the other people in my generation have had that too. But like, it's such a weird feeling, right? Like disassociating and like genuinely disassociating and like derealizing and like having depersonalization of like just like kind of staring there and then like losing all sense of self. Like, it's not one of those things where like you see yourself. It's just one of those things where like your mind just goes blank and you're like sort of aware, but at the same time like it doesn't like click right away, and then you're like, oh, never mind, I'm back. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. And that's why you need SSRIs. Dude, I can guarantee that one day people are going to like, they're going to be like, he's mentally ill. That's why he's a communist. That's why he's a leftist. It's because he's mentally ill. And not because the society around, fosters and allows for festering of mental illness because of the system that crushes people and makes them ill.
僕は本当に身に覚えがないんだ。罪を犯したとか人殺しとか言われても知らないよ。僕はただのしがない会社員だ。
At some company.
なんだよ。人が真剣に話してるってのにニヤニヤ。
I think I'm still going fucking crazy, but does S look like a younger version of Mikoto? They look like, yeah, Mikoto looks like an older version of S. Oh my god, he said he's just a normal employee and he literally has a blue collar.
初めてだと思ってな。全く身に覚えがないとしらばっくれる囚人は。
しらばっくれてないって。マジで知らない。ほら、僕の目見て。ほら。
触るな。慣れ慣れしい。
いいから、ちゃんとこっちを見てよ。どう？マジでしょ。
知るか。嘘をついているような目に見えないとでも言われることを期待したか。僕はそんな曖昧なもので判断はしない。
もう。いや、待ってくれ。そもそも僕が何をしたか監視君も知らないんだろ。
So far, I believe him, purely because of like the meta narrative, like perspective. Like his voice trial or voice drama is called John Doe, and John Doe is usually what is the name given to like corpses that are unidentifiable. So him not being able to identify what he did makes sense. And then also his trial video is called Me. So, or meme. So that could be like a double entendre where it's meme, meaning that he lacks information. He lacks retaining information, meaning that he wasn't a meme. It wasn't something like that. But also could have been something like me, where there's one me and then there's another me, right? Jekyll Hyde sort of thing. Or disassociation or anything else like that.
全く知らない。
なんだよそれ。それで僕を人殺しだと決めつけるなんて横暴じゃない。
横暴ではない。
人も殺してない。悪いこともしてない。コツコツ普通に人生やってきただけ。
Living tombstone ordinary life.
それなのにこんな変なことに巻き込まれるなんてさ。 なの冗談だって思いたいよ。思いたいだろこんなの。僕にだって生活があるんだよ。苦労して憧れの会社に入ったばかりなんだよ。クビになったら責任取ってもらうからな。
なるほどね。面白い。
面白いことがあるもんか。
よし、一旦その前提で話に付き合ってやる。思考実験だ。ミコト、お前は何もしていない。
そう、その通りだよ監視君。
一旦お前は囚人番号9番ミコトではないとしよう。そうだな、ただのミコト君だ。
いいね、ミコト君で行こう。僕も親愛を込めてスー君って呼ぶよ。
それはいらん。調子に乗るな。
スー君。
付き合ってやる代わりに一旦僕の言っていることを事実だと飲み込め。ミルグラムはショーなどではなく現実だ。
ここが人殺しを集めている施設ってこととか、それを歌と映像でうんぬんとか。
そうだ、お前の言うことだけを信じるならば、お前以外の9人は全員人殺しだ。
そんな場所にいるのヤバすぎるでしょ。みんな全然そんな人たちに見えないし。ほら、そもそも
There's even an elementary schooler here. That elementary schooler is a fucking demon. Fuck that little girl. God damn it. Fuck her. She is the goddamn worst. I hate her. I hate Amanai, but I also love her. So far, she's my favorite fucking character. Also, I just want to say, guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty.
小学生いるんだよ。
それはあまねにあまり言わない方がいいぞ。めんどくさいこと。
Yeah.
なんで？
I like how all of these need to be kind of like watched in order, obviously because watch order, because like S is they are clearly changing over the course of these, right? Because if it wasn't, then like you could have watched this one on their own, and like he could have mentioned like, oh, there's an elementary school, and then S would have said something like, oh yeah, there is an elementary schooler here. But because we've already seen Amane and how she reacts to me calling a elementary schooler, then S then saying like, I wouldn't say that to her face, is a very good like continuity like bit there.
まあ、お前の言うことはわからないでもない。僕も尋問していて学んだ。人の印象はどうしても外見に引っ張られる。
でしょ？ユンちゃんとかムッちゃんとかただの JK じゃん。ハルくんなんて虫も殺せなさそうな顔してるし。
He calls all the women Chan.
傘パクんのがやっとでしょ？ほらマッピーはただのいい人だし、まあカズさんとかシドウさんとか、あとコトちゃんとかは雰囲気的にワンチャンあるかもだけど。
人物表参考にするよ、ミコト君。ただ
Interesting that he has now like nicknamed all of them.
人の死に関わっている。
まあいいや。一旦信じる。
では、そんなところに。
You know, I just wondered about something. What if the whole idea of being in somebody's death, like being involved in somebody's death, what if they take that to like the furthest possible conclusion and say that somebody who tried to kill themselves was a crime, attempting to murder themselves, or even successfully did but was revived? What if that's what Mikoto here did? Was he tried to kill himself?
無実のミコト君が選ばれた理由は何だと思う？
人違い。
はあ。
そっち側の判断基準の細かいとこに目をつぶるとすると、同姓同名だとか外見が似てるとか、そういう取り間違い。
ミルグラムの
Maybe that would be very interesting if Mikoto was was just like a random that they picked up off the street, that would make everything way more interesting. But I have been a little spoiled in the fact that I know that their character art changes a little bit from each of the trials. Their character art changes because I was trying to look up art for them to put in the thumbnails, and I got spoiled on that little bit there. And I wish I could have got my live reaction. I mean, I'm sure you'll get my live reaction whenever I see what the other characters look and how they change. Like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. But Mikoto, he was fucking disheveled. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck happens? What happens with any of these people to, like, make them look like that? Like, I saw one for Amine, and she looks just like shit. Like, just... Right? That's exactly what she looks like. So, I'm curious as to what the fuck goes on in this prison to get not only a 23-year-old to look like that, but to also get a 12-year-old to look like that.
誤作動ということか。
そうそう。他に考えようがないもん。
そうか。僕はもう一つ思い浮かんでいるぞ。お前は人を殺したことを忘れている。
That's my impression too.
は？忘れている？人を殺したことを？
Sure.
そんなことありえる？
I mean, it happens all the time. Like, it's one of the it's one of the many reasons of why, like, eyewitnesses can be so like untrustworthy, right? Like, even a person who is trying to tell the honest truth, they might not remember exactly what they did due to trauma or PTSD or other things like that.
お前が嘘をついていない。ミルグラムは正しい。両方の条件を飲めば、この答えが導き出されるのは
Milgram is
自然
always
だろ。
right.
忘れている。
Yeah, it's pretty right, all right. Fucking right-leaning, you goddamn fascist.
が人を殺したことを？
人間はストレスを避けるために記憶に蓋をすることもあるという。乖離性憲法のように。
ストレスいやいやまさか知らないうちに人を殺しているなんてそんなことあるわけ。
Stress? I'm not stressing.
お前の発言を僕が信じてやるにはこの線で考える以外ないね。僕はお前のこと以上にミルグラムを信じているからな。そこを疑うことはありえない。
いや
監視として断言しよう。お前は人殺しだ。
ちょっと待って。ないタマ頭おかしくなるって。やめてよ。嫌なことばかり言うの。知らないうちに殺人犯になってんの？ない。
時間をやる。記憶の糸をたぐるがいいさ。
Very interesting because, like, the way he feels like it kind of feels like he's overreacting in a way. Like, what? No, that's not possible. Like his illusion is breaking, but at the same time, who wouldn't freak out whenever they're inside of a prison that is extrajudicial with a fucking child in front of them saying, I get to decide if you live or die, or are guilty or not guilty, right?
人を殺した記憶がない殺人者だとすればどう考えるべきかなあ、ミコト。
おう。
何がミコト。
Holy shit.
まさか
I wonder if it was because it was theory time. Theory. Here we go. Theory. You're only stopped by the thing, whatever it is, whether it's supernatural or mental, is if you are consciously knowing what you are doing. But because Mikoto possibly isn't just a single person, or might be doing it unconsciously, therefore when he rages out and goes into a frenzy and attacks S, that they do get hit because it's an unconscious action.
ありえない。
クソがイラつかせんな。
囚人から監視への攻撃はできないはず。
うっせえんだよてめえ。ごちゃごちゃ言ってっと叩き殺してやるぞカスが。だらだらガキのくせに偉そうにざまあねえぜクソが。
ライア
ああ聞こえねえんだよ。てめえただのガキじゃねえかザコが。
覚えてろよ、人殺しが。
ああもっと痛いのが好みか。いいぜ、顔面潰してやるよ。
やってみろよ。
望み通りやってやるよ。
Oh, hello.
なんだってめえ。
お前、
命拾いしたわね、監視さん。
肩が。なぜ？
話は後。
どいつもこいつも俺をイラつかせんだ。ほら職場かすんな。
典型的な素人の動きだけど、この打撃の重さ、彼の筋肉量からは想像もつかない。
しつけえしつけえ。
長期戦はそこそこ面倒か。
She just put him down, didn't she?
ハイキック。
Yep.
一撃。
Yep.
感謝して気絶で済ませといたわよ。大丈夫、監視さん。
肩が。お前。
何？
Kotoko, innocent. Just purely what she just did. Innocent. That's also really interesting that the actions of them inside the prison will also be used to judge them not as well.
尋問で招集がかかる前に勝手に忍び込むとは。
はあ？まさか咎める気じゃないでしょうね。私が控えてなかったら死んでたのよ。
なぜ尋問室にいた？
茅野Mikotoの奇妙な行動に注目していたから。隣の部屋だから目につくのよ。
なぜ僕を助けた？
あなたの存在は私にとっても利があるから。
説明になってない。
そうね。そこら辺は私の番で答える。順番抜かしをするつもりはないから。郷に従うよ。今のところはね。
くそ、ミコト、好き勝手痛めつけてくれやがって。
看守さん、こっち見て。
なんだこと
拳が途中で止まる。 囚人からの攻撃は受け付けないってのは本当ね。
Did she just try to hit
彼の
him?
ミコトはあなたを殴れるの？
心臓には
Also, by the way, I want to make it very clear is that for people, if you're ever confused if I'm like switching back and forth between pronouns for S, I'm not. I'm saying M, as in apostrophe EM, right? As in the shortened version of them. Just in case anyone is ever like confused about that, I do that for some of my friends that are also non-binary and go by they them, and it's usually whenever you text, it's easier to say M instead of like her or them or he or something like that, because then you could also say instead of M, it's I am, right? Or just her or whatever other gendered pronoun you want to use.
悪い。やめ
Or
ろ。
non-gendered pronoun.
大体僕が知りたいくらいだ。そんなの。時間だ。出て行け。男。
新章を歌と映像にするのね。私は見ちゃいけないわけ？
認められない。出て行け。
それにしても面白いことになったわね。
男。
あなたも分かっているでしょ。先ほどの行動からカヤの御事は乖離性同一性障害、いわゆる二重人格の可能性がある。まだ虚言芝居の可能性も捨てられないけど。ねえ、どう思う？私は本物を見たことはないけれど。
Which, I mean, that's whenever that becomes really interesting of like, how do you judge somebody where a single body has multiple identities within it, right? Like that plurality is what it's called. But it's one of those things where like it's the same mind. It's the same body. It's the same all of that. So I mean, I would assume and I would think that you would punish the body that is still acting as it, right? As that. And I mean, I have my own like very complicated thoughts on plurality and the supposed like commonality or rarity of it, right? And because I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, right? This is going to be the perfect time to say it right now, is that you've seen the people who fake having systems, right? Where they will say that they have a bunch of like fictives, meaning they have like fictional characters and all this other stuff, just to kind of like be quirky and weird and all this other stuff, which I mean, I really don't give a fuck, right? If that's what they do, whatever, right? And I mean, there is also the argument to be had that like then it can ruin it for other people too, but that's kind of a misnomer, because that's also kind of like the same thing with like some gay people using neo-pronouns, being like, oh well, they're putting a bad name for the other real gays. It doesn't really make any sense. Who gives a fuck? Neo-pronouns are like so few and far between that if you ever really got close to somebody to use their custom pronouns, I would hope that you're a close enough friend to them to at least want to respect that, right? I mean, like if someone in my comment section was like, I go by Bun Self, I wouldn't use that because I don't know them, right? Like, I'm not their friend. I'm not close to them to, use that, but I would still use something that was ungendered, at least in the moment, out of at least some respect to to not be like, oh, you're just fake or whatever, because I mean, them doing that is 100% valid. Like, their identity is valid. And the same thing goes for DID and systems and the like, because there are genuine systems out there. There are genuine people that have those debilities or disabilities and the like. But it's also very complicated, right? Some people might think that they have systems, but maybe it's something else. It's borderline. Maybe it's a schizotypical disorder where them hearing or like other people isn't the actual existence of alters, but a schizotypical disorder that needs to be like medicated or the like. But it's a very, very complicated like area of research within the human mind. And some people might think that having Mikoto be, violent with his could be like disparaging and like a bad stereotype. But it's kind of one of those things with like schizotypical disorders where that is possible, right? It is possible for somebody to have an alter within them that makes them do bad things, right? Either as a coping mechanism or as a deep-seated form of sociopathy or other things like that. Kind of like how people can be very violent with schizophrenia or other typical disorders, right? While other people, like most people, are actually much more tame and reserved due to their mental illness and the like. It's one of those things where you have to understand nuance, but you also have to understand that there is some truth within some of these things, but also be able to use comprehension to differentiate that, right? It's one of those things with like sociopathy or psychopathy where we associate that with being evil and being mean and being bad and lacking empathy and the like. And that is true, that they do lack empathy or they do lack neurotypical like emotions and reactions, right? But it's how that person uses that defines it, right? It's one of those things where that diagnosis is rather is both a symptom of what they do, but it is also a reason as well. Just an ingredient, if you will, in what they do. Not just the pure overall result of what they do.
仮に彼が本物の多重人格者ならば、別人格が犯した罪は主人格が負うべきなのかしら。
ことか。それを考えるのは僕の仕事だ。囚人のお前の仕事ではない。
She's a verified yapper,
それ
dog.
が真実か。それが罪かどうかも含めて、僕とミルグラムだけに判断する権利がある。
はいはい。いいわ、任せる。
Smash.
じゃあ私はこれで。
You know what? For all I know, that's a trans guy. Who knows? I have seen guys look exactly like Kotoko. All right.
何？
助けてくれてありがとう。
どういたしまして。
It is really interesting that so far there hasn't been really any like gender non-conforming characters, because that's usually like there's usually at least one stereotypical one within anime and Japanese media because of the way that gender is viewed in Japan and the like.
わけのわからないことばかりだ。だが仕事はしなければならないな。
何すんの監視君。なんで僕いつの間に。これ頭痛い
だろうな。
てか監視君も傷だらけじゃん。どうした？何があったの？
何も覚えてないんだな。
え？何のこと？
散々散らかしておいてなんとも腹の立つ。だが いいだろう。その態度、挑戦状と受け取ったよ。お前からなのか、もしくはお前以外の誰かからなのかは知らんがな。
だから何のこと？
囚人番号9番ミコト。さあ、お前の罪を歌え。
I wonder if there's any art of S like being all fucked up. Hell yeah. Oh, I love symbolism. Terra. Red Bull. Get blocked, fucker. Okay. Wow. That was very cool, and I'm gonna have so much fucking fun sinking my teeth into it, because guess what, motherfuckers? I know tarot. I know exactly what the fuck is going on. I have many friends who are like actually practice tarot and other things like that. And I myself dabble in like not readings, but more particularly like the symbolism behind them, because I'm a JoJo's fan. But man, it is very obvious to me that just based on the lyrics, that what is going on is that this altar, this other Mikoto, is a protector of sorts, right? Which plays into, obviously, one of the very common reasonings for people developing DID in the first place is due to a coping mechanism, due to childhood trauma. But it can develop as late as adulthood, though it is even more rare than the already, like, 1 in, like, what was it, like 15 million people that have any sort of dissociative identity disorder. Something along those lines. But this was the symbolism that I was talking about. Is like, look, there's two tables. One is straight and the other one is crooked. One's Mikoto and the other one's the altar. Oh, it's symbolism. Which is very, very interesting. And it seems that his altar is both seeking thrill, but is also using it as an excuse to protect Mikoto as well. But it also seems like the altar is fulfilling the stereotypical delinquent of Japanese tropes and the like, given, you know, the wandering of the streets with a baseball bat and the like. Also, I did notice, I 100% did notice when it shows it here in a second. I wish I could stop. How long would this dream go on? You don't have to keep it in and hide it away. I will save me. See, exactly. Which could either be a very twisted idea of saving or quite literal. Because the big thing with DID is that often the altars do love their host. That's a very big thing. Now show it. Where is it? Where is it? Also, I love the difference in like in strings, right? Of how it goes from like very much metal to then almost like idyllic, right? And kind of like more poppy. And I like that. Come on, show me the shirt. Right there. That's the Hanged Man. that is just the Hanged Man. And it's very ironic that it's using a muse, a wooden doll, meaning that it can be anything. It can be anyone, being the Hanged Man. And if I'm correct, the Hanged Man means new perspective. And it also means like sacrifice and the like, because obviously hanged upside down and the like, you're seeing the world from a new angle. Given the typical, I think it's the Wraith Briar collection of cards, the tarot cards depiction on the art of it. And that very much fits with Mikoto and his DID and the altar of having a new perspective. And if I'm correct, let's see, what is the card that he pulls here? He must be spending so much money on clothes because he's just throwing them away. Also, I wonder what his day job is. Is it having to do with tarot? Also, this like mind palace sort of thing that's kind of shattered, which is very interesting because that's another idea within DID systems, is that they do have a sort of internal landscape that they all exist within. What is that? Hold on. The devil. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But the devil and the and death aren't really stereotypically bad cards. They can be negative, but they aren't really like indicative of evil or anything like that. It usually just means like a hiccup or something, or even depending on how, if it's reversed or not. Fuck, what does the devil mean? The devil means that like a sudden surprise, if I'm correct. Like a sudden appearance of something. Which very much makes sense for the altar. Then there is also, he pulled death as well. Red Bull, I wonder who he's talking to here. He could be talking to his altar and not knowing it, or actually doing a reading for somebody and being unaware of what's going on. And there's, is that the... That's the Fool. Yes, that's the Fool. Which also is very much makes sense because the Fool typically means being oblivious to something new, or having again, a new perspective, or a new start, or something along those lines. But the Fool can also mean that you play a part in a story that is like the Fool, not as meaning you're dumb, but as in you are the person that is finding out something. You are the one that is at the middle of something. So that's very interesting. Also, I really like the design of these tarot. Having pentacles be these vinyls, and then also the card of swords being these knives, and then those being the wheels, I'm imagining, and then there's obviously the cups, cup of ace. And then there's wands, which is baseball bats, which is very cool. And then he pulls death, which death symbolizes the end of something, but the beginning of something as well. It means that something new will be coming from it and will be arriving. It is the end of one cycle and the beginning of another, right? Because obviously it represents seasons. It represents things like that. Which means that I'm imagining Mikoto has gone through these cycles quite a few times, because we constantly see these cycles of hurt, and then disassociation, and then unawareness, just kind of always happening. Very, very cool. And then the cycle of violence starts again with a punch straight to the fucking camera that I dodged and expertly comboed with a right hook. But yeah, wow, that, fuck, dude, that was, I love it. I like Mikoto. Guilty, but also I love him. I want to see more of him. I want to see more symbolism. I want more. Okay, yeah. I really, really enjoyed that. Obviously, with all these videos, this is just going to be the ending. I'm not going to really wrap up anything because I've already talked about all my feelings throughout all of this. Yeah, man, this is awesome. I love it. Can't wait to get Kotoko's next. And, right, I think she's next. Yeah, Kotoko. And see how she plays into all of this. And then we'll be at the end of trial 1, and then we'll listen to the all of the questions and the interrogation questions and all of that, and all that shit going on, and we'll get to see who dies first, or who gets fucked up first. I don't know. Maybe none of them die, but they just get punished in some sort of way. That could also be really interesting. Kind of like a twist on Danganronpa. But yeah, if you want to support me, I have a Patreon down below. It's free, and you get to become a member of the Ultimate Pirate Fleet. Getting paid does not elevate you in the community at all. It merely gives you a new label, and it gives, but it also allows you to have access the same as everyone else. It just shows your support and the like. But you also do get a custom font. You also get a custom color that I'll like ask you about on Patreon or whatever. Of what you want it to be, and then I'll put that at the end of the video, and you'll have like your own screen with the rest of the people that are on that same tier. Then there's also memberships where you get like a custom role color and all this other stuff in the comments, and you also have access to like member streams, and that's as low as 99 cents. And it is not free because I don't know if I can make the memberships free. I tried lowering it as low as possible. But yeah, thank you. And here are my patrons. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you to the ultimate members of the fleet, aka the members and patrons. Sauline, Peachy Bun, Sleepy Sheepy, Lola Barzal, Finch R, Emanali, Belle, Lily McMillan, Henri, Shira, Angel313, Andrew Ortega, Ariana Henry, Yoan, Test, Helen, Miles Morales, Buglarka Boggy, Moonze W, and you, and Lind, the Vocaloid Nerd ARG. If you wish to support me, you can do so by becoming a member through the links in the description down below. You are all a part of the crew, but only some can achieve ultimate status. But then again, you've already heard the outro of this video. Thank you.